Hello and welcome back to Rain Check. We will be continuing where we left off, which, if you recall, is after Theodore and Javier went tailing, Christopher, I believe, the polar bear dude. They were trying to see what his connection with, what's his name? The snow leopard. I forget his name right now. They were trying to see what his connection was and where he was going, etc. And it led them to a building where they were captured by the tiger with the sort of New Jersey-esque accent, who kept saying, like, "use guys." But yeah, they were captured. Javier ended up realizing that something was off. He realized that Lawrence was basically leading them on a what's the word? I guess you could say snipe hunt, basically leading them off the trail. And if you recall, if they followed what Lawrence wanted, Theodore would just fly back, and then Javier would end up drowning, basically. But now, they're not actually doing what Lawrence wants, and now they're captured. I'm not exactly sure what's gonna happen with Javier, but the snow leopard is now questioning, or is kind of wanting to get some answers from Theodore, so that's where we're gonna continue from. Anyway, so yeah, without further ado, let us continue Rain Check. We step briefly into the hallway before Helix guides me to another room. What do I... Shut it. I grimace as he tightens his grip around my arm. There is a bunch of devices and instruments hung up across the walls, with a large table in the center of the room. Is this some kind of interrogation room? Or worse? Sit. He points to a flimsy steel chair beside the table, the only one in the room. You mean... Yes. Fearing the consequences of disobedience, I quickly sit and glance back nervously. Take off your shirt. What? I won't repeat myself. Do it, or I'll tear it off of you. Okay. I quickly obey, stripping off my top layer until my fur is exposed to the cold, stale air. He moves behind me and binds my arms to the chair. Only then do I notice it's bolted to the floor. Without a word, the snow leopard walks to a metal cabinet, pulling out several colorful wires and tossing them onto the table before glaring at me. Let's see how you do with this. Helix rummages through some boxes, pulling out a large rectangular machine and swiftly hooks it up to the wires. Is this some kind of polygraph? It doesn't look like anything that I've seen before. Don't move. I mean it. Helix grabs the ends of the wires and connects them to a large transparent mesh fabric with small white knots held in his other paw. Finally, he walks over and drapes the mesh over my head, covering most of my upper torso. Alright, all you need to do is answer my questions. And don't try to do anything funny unless you want to be skinned alive. I swallow hard and nod slowly, trying to stay calm. There is a dull hum as the machine is flicked on, and a small tingle radiates throughout my fur. You can do this. First question, what is your name? Theodore. And what's the name of the fox that was with you? Javier. He adjusts the dials on the machine before turning his attention back to me. Now tell me, why are you here? We were trying to find Christopher in order to look for you. Javier was trying to see where Christopher went when we were caught outside the building. Helix pauses, furrowing his brows. Why were you looking for me? We just wanted to know who was responsible for the shooting that night. And? I give the snow leopard a confused look, hesitating to respond. And what? Sorry, Look, kid, you think that I'm stupid? No, I don't... Do I have to spell it out for you? You were clearly following me that night with that fucking annoying wolf, weren't you? way before the shooting occurred. There's no fucking way that you're telling me that you didn't plan to take me out that night. But we didn't. He suddenly lashes out a paw, gripping my throat tightly before almost immediately letting go and calming down. Fine. Why don't you explain to me the events that unfolded that night? We got there to investigate Blackout. We thought that we might learn more about it by going to the library. Why? I don't know. We were told to go there by Lawrence. He said that there is a potential evidence that will connect with the current case that we were investigating. He signals me to keep talking with how sharp his glare is focused on me. When we got there, we split up and that's when Magnus approached Javier. Magnus. What the hell was he doing talking with people like you? We don't know either, but he said that he was waiting for someone that never arrived. Never arrived? We showed up on time. But that's not what he said. So I guess he got impatient and asked Javier for help instead? We arranged to meet up at 9. How is that possible? Something tells me that Magnus is more closely connected to Blackout than I thought. Well, I don't know. But shortly after Magnus and Javier left through the back, we saw you walk in with Christopher. That's right. Explain how you know Christopher. He was at the casino. I was staying at the Grand Marine and he was there when I was attacked. So it was you then? Huh? Nothing. Continue with what happened that night. Well, we saw you two come in. We were curious to know why you guys were there. That's why we did what we did and followed you. His attention stays on the machine as it blinks and hums. These people that you were with. Are you referring to Ark? Yes. I'm not an investigator. I was just caught up in all of this. You'd think that I'd believe that. Why would someone like you be partnered up with people like them? But it's true. There were these creepy texts and threats that I got, telling me to go to the power plant after I was attacked by some drugged up cat at the casino. Right. His eyes fixate on the machine, trying to make sense of whatever readings it's outputting. Each second drags by, more excruciatingly nerve-wracking than the last, as I wait for Helix's conclusion. I see. He walks over to the cabinet and pulls out another chair from behind and unfolds it across the table from me. Lawrence, where is he now? I don't know, but if anyone knows where he is, it's probably Javier. Helix stares at the machine until various lights flicker, and definitely lost in thought with how focused he is. Last question. Have you been lying to me at any point? No, I haven't. We both stare at the machine as its low rumbling fades out. He lets out a confused sigh as he disconnects the machine before approaching me. I flinch, expecting him to hit me. Please don't hurt me. There's a short canned chuckle, and then a cold breeze as I feel the mesh being slowly lifted from my body. Huh? He wasn't gonna hit me? Stop moving. Are we done? Is that it? I'm too scared to ask. The snow leopard spends a few moments coiling up the wires and setting the machine aside, leaving me waiting in terror. So you were telling me the truth. I've never seen someone score a -5 before. I guess that means your little friend was also being truthful. Does that mean that I'm free to go? We can discuss this once we have Magnus. For now, you can sit tight until the fox comes back. He walks over to the door, but I yell out for him before he leaves. Wait! I need to know what those texts were. I just need to. Quiet. Or do I need to gag you two? I just have a question about the texts. Please, I need to know. The text that you received? An awkward silence settles, and from the corner of my eye, I catch Helix just standing there. Did he just laugh? I try to turn to get a better view, but he's just out of view at the door. Um, don't worry about that. What's with the sudden change in his tone? Is he embarrassed? What? What does that mean? Please, I just need to know why I needed to go to the power plant. Were you guys responsible for sending that to me? What was that reward mentioned in the text? It was a mistake. His voice is barely audible, but I catch it somehow. A mistake? Your phone intercepted the message instead of that cat. That message was never intended for you. Huh? You mean the cat that tried to kill me? His embarrassment quickly switches over to an enraged look as he storms over to me. Suddenly, he grips my neck tightly, glaring at me with eyes full of rage. I've answered your question, now shut the fuck up or I'll snap your neck off. Son, didn't the boss say to treat him well? A sudden loud and deep voice rings out in the room, causing the snow leopard to retract his paw on me. Slate, it's not what it looks like. Helix steps back, revealing a large, muscular gator standing in the doorway, clearly unimpressed. Shut the fuck up or I'll snap your neck off. Is that really any way to treat our guests? But I heard it all from down the hall. I don't want to hear any bullshit from you. Helix shakes his head as he retreats into a corner, defeated, his tail between his legs. Plus, I saw the whole thing from the surveillance room. I have to say, rare to see someone score a 0, let alone a negative on the hypermetric polygraph. Don't tell me that you came here just to embarrass me, Slate. Whoa, who is this guy? He has such a different aura than Helix. Embarrass you? You do this to yourself, son. I told you to send the transmission yourself, but did you listen? No, you had to get one of these inexperienced grunts to do it for you, because you were too busy getting your... Enough, like you have the right to speak. Are they both on the same side? I'm having trouble believing what's going on. Theodore. I stare at the gator, not sure of what to say. Yes? He steps fully into the room, stopping right in front of me, the ground giving a slight tremor with each step. He's huge. Even his muscles have muscles. You okay? Hope that ash-covered cat hasn't caused you too much problems. He gives me a big smile, causing me to fluster. Relax, I ain't gonna hurt you, son. In fact, all I want to do is ask you some questions. Okay. The snow leopard stands in the corner, avoiding eye contact as he recovers from the earlier exchange. Do you know what blackout is? How we really are? Well... No, not really. Of course you wouldn't. That's why you and your team were following Helix. Let me tell you what we're not, and that's outlaws doing whatever they think that they can get away with. He turns around and stares at Helix with a bone-piercing glare. Blackout is a research company, plain and simple. We find and treat people suffering from addiction, and treat them. Wouldn't you say that's a very noble thing to do in today's society when drug abuse is at its all-time highest? I catch Helix sneering and shaking his head just out of Slate's view, as the gator waits for my response. Yeah, it does, but... So then you understand why we need Magnus. He's one of our biggest potential investors. And we thought that you and your group were trying to sabotage us. Isn't that funny? You can see the confusion would happen. Yeah. So once we get Magnus, we can continue on with our research, and you can be on your way. Slate turns to Helix haughtily before grinning back at me. See, son, this is how you should be, if the boss tells you to be gentle. The large gator steps behind me, and after a moment, I feel pressure on my paws and hear the snap of the binds hitting the ground. My clothes suddenly appear, held out by the gator, who earnestly hands them to me. Put this back on. I can't have you catching a cold. His voice is quiet, but demanding. I quickly throw on my clothes, my mind still processing the confusion around me. Helix, the order's here. We're picking it up now. Is that why you barged in? You could have just messaged me. And see you mistreat the son when the boss specifically mentioned to be gentle? You're out of your goddamn mind. How long do we have? About an hour, so get ready. The gator gestures to me. We'll need to bring him along. My eyes widen in fear. What? We can't bring him. He'll fuck things up. I just know it. Well, you have to keep an eye on him, and if something happens to him, it's on your head. Remember? Because it'll be funny if the boss knew. Fuck you. Good. Now I'll be back shortly. Gonna grab some stuff. Then we can get going. Slate disappears through the door, then pops his head back in. And be nice to the kid. The son's been telling the truth. He did score a -5. Okay, now piss off. The loud thuds of the gator slowly disappear, until the only sounds that echo in the room are Helix's light taps on the wall in the corner. I instinctively look down, avoiding Helix's sharp gaze, nervously rubbing my wrists where the binds had been. Seconds stretch into minutes as we wait in silence for Slate to return. It's been a bit since I had any food. My face immediately flushes red and my ears flatten as I can hear Helix chuckling at me from the other side of the room. Hungry? Yeah. The feline rolls his eyes before tossing a small energy bar from his pocket on the table next to me. Take it. Are you sure? No, so hurry and fucking eat it before I change my mind. I'm not sure. God fucking hell, just forget it. He throws a bar onto the ground, stomping it repeatedly. Stop wasting my time. You'd be dead right now if it wasn't for the boss. I freeze up, trying to stay as calm as possible. Helix approaches slowly, his brows furrowed as he appears lost in thought. You're lucky. Helix, bring the tiger with you to the back. We're leaving now. Slate's sudden voice echoes from the hallway, making Helix jump and clench his paws in irritation. Fucking hell. I'm not sure how much time has passed, but it's definitely been a while. I can't see anything being in the storage at the back of the truck, with nothing inside but me. I curl up, tucking my knees against my chest and trying to stabilize myself in the corner as the truck's erratic motions make it impossible to do much else. Eventually, the engine noise fades and the truck comes to a stop. I sit up, trying to position myself better in case it starts moving again. Hello? There is no response but the violent echo of my voice bouncing around the metal walls. I call out one last time, but the results are the same. I slump back into the corner, nervously waiting for something to happen. After what feels like forever, there is a sharp bang from the back of the truck. Hello? I shield my eyes from the sudden light and voice standing at the opening. Get out. We're done. I do my best to keep my balance as I step out, but I stumble, and the snow leopard catches me before I fall. Fucking... Sorry. Thanks. God damn it. Watch it. Wait a second. Isn't this the convention center? Is this some kind of loading area? And what's this large metal container doing next to us? This can't be the thing that they're picking up, is it? If it isn't Theodore. Turning around, I see Slate leaving the convention center, balancing several boxes in one arm and waving to me with the other. Hope the ride wasn't too hard on your back. Hey, it was okay. I try to lift the paw and wave back, but Helix intercepts it and pushes it down. Ugh, don't bother. So, did you finish signing off the transaction? Yes, the parts are here. You can finally get started with the assembly as soon as we get back. Great. I'll be able to test out the test plans I made. I try to get a good look at the boxes, but they're all labeled and masked with layers of tape. One by one, the gator effortlessly carries the boxes into the truck, including the large metal container that looks like it need a forklift to handle. That's the last one. Theodore, why don't you sit in the front with Helix? I'll be in the back making sure that these don't topple over. Helix whips his head towards the alligator, then at me. Fine, but if you do anything funny, I'll gut you like a fish. What happened to being gentle? Shut it. As Slate heads to the back of the truck, I feel a sudden coldness around my wrists. It's then that I realize that I'm bound again with handcuffs. Go. Get in the front. I hop in and do my best to maneuver in the seat, struggling with the handcuffs binding my paws in front. Helix slides into the driver's seat and we start moving immediately. We exit the lot and merge onto the main road, quickly getting on the freeway. My eyes wander over the truck's dashboard, landing on a small reflector where I notice Helix constantly checking the side mirrors. He turns to check on the other mirror, but our gazes meet unexpectedly. My face heats up and I turn to look out the window. What the hell has been going on these past few hours? First we were tracking down Blackout, and now apparently Blackout's just a research company? But if that's true, why would they establish themselves like a gang? Unless I'm missing something. I could ask Helix since he's right there, but I'm not sure if I should just remain silent and behave. Ugh. But this is going to bother me. I go back and forth on the idea before shaking my head in frustration and deciding to just ask. What? Blackout isn't actually a research company, is it? And I thought you were clever, but it looks like I was wrong. What do you think? It's not. It is. It always has been. But when we tried searching up info on Blackout, we weren't able to find anything besides something tracing to a chemical fire years ago. The Red Salted Harbor. So you do know. His voice drips with disdain, and I see his grip tighten on the steering wheel. You know what? I'll let you in on something. His eyes fixate on the road, with fangs bared out as he grits his teeth. As much as I hate you and your guts, there's nothing in the world that I hate more than those low-life, two-faced backstabbers. Teamwork, more like collective sabotage. If I ever get my paws on you, Voltsman, I'll gouge out your eyes and rip out your heart. I try my best to sit still and avoid drawing attention as the snow leopard continues his rant, muttering beneath his breath. Is he really this angry just because I mentioned the chemical fire? And who the hell is Voltsman? He must have done something really terrible if Helix is acting like this. Blackout has gone through changes because of people like him, but we've endured. It's only a matter of time before we strike back at them. Them? There was another party involved? But who? Was it this Voltsman? None of this is really making any sense. But I've said enough. You wouldn't understand. Helix focuses back on driving as the ambient sound of the truck is replaced by the patter of rain hitting the windshield. I want you to tell me more about Lawrence. I turn to look at Helix, surprised by this random request. Sure. What's his species? What does he look like? He's a tall gray wolf, slender built, I guess. And you and that fox said that he's the one responsible for sending you to the bar that night? Yeah, that's right. He mumbles something to himself, looks over at me before returning his attention back to the road. Sounds suspicious, don't you think? I guess. Considering if what your fox friend said was true about Lawrence leading you places. and the fact that the shooting wasn't orchestrated by you. He pauses, his expression hardening into a cold stare. Helix lets out a low, dry chuckle. I bet you this Lawrence cunhead was trying to kill me, and you two just so happened to be in the crossfire. Probably to stop the deal that never happened from occurring. He continues to mutter more things, but the rain drowns out any utterances he makes. Fucking hell. He slams his paw against the dashboard, then grabs my shirt, making me jump. Once we have Magnus, I think I'm gonna find this Lawrence guy and teach him a lesson. And you're going to help me. Help him? Oh no, I have a bad feeling about this. We're back. The rain's still pouring like crazy too. Man, that drive felt so long, even longer than when I was stuck in the storage earlier. Probably because of how uncomfortable the silence was with Helix sitting next to me. I look over and see the feline pulling a latch before I feel shaking coming from the back of the truck. Wait here. He hops out of the truck, disappearing from sight only to reappear moments later now with Slate by his side. Even from sitting inside, Slate's head just manages to look into the side window of the truck. He waves at me, greeting me earnestly. How was the ride? Hope it was better than sitting in the back. It was fine. I still can't get used to how friendly Slate is. It feels like he's up to something. Good then. Slate looks at Helix but returns his glance back to me when Helix ignores him. I'll be moving the containers now. Helix, look after the son, would you? This isn't a fucking daycare, and I know what to do. Then do it. The gator gives a sarcastic pat on Helix's back before walking off. Ugh, pain in my ass. All fucking soaked. He mutters more things that I can't make out as he opens a door and motions me out. The snow leopard escorts me back inside, his paw firm on my wet shoulder. I feel a sudden tug and we stop in place. Where to put you? His grip tightens before releasing and pushing me towards a large steel door. Go in there and have a seat. I'll be right there. And you better not touch anything or I'll kill you. Okay. I approach the door hesitantly and turn to look back at Helix, who watches me as I make my way inside. As I step in, the lights automatically turn on, revealing some kind of laboratory. Well, kinda. On closer inspection, it's like a lounge on the one side and a workshop on the other. I spot a sofa near the door and decide to sit down, anxiously awaiting Helix's return. I draw in a deep breath, trying to steady myself. Javier's out there searching for Magnus. We're just buying time for now, but I really hope that you have a plan, Javier. Although, there's still a chance, a real one, that Javier won't find him, and then I'm done for. I shake my head, forcing the thought away. Yeah, I'll be fine. I have to be. The door suddenly swings open and Slate walks in, not spotting me at first, until he turns around. Hey, there you are. Here. He tosses a large towel for me and motions to the hallway behind him. That damn Helix. Supposed to be looking after you, but walked off to do his own thing. I guess I'll be looking after you then, son. I nod slowly as I try and dry my fur. So, hey, ya ever been held captive like this before? The gator laughs and nudges my shoulder playfully. Don't answer that. He props open the door and slides the same metal container that we transported from the convention center inside. Hey, say something. I'm not that scary, am I? Hopefully not as much as that Helix. I try to force out a small chuckle, but it comes out more as an animal struggling to breathe. You probably have a lot of questions. But luckily for you, I got a lot of time. Slate grabs a crowbar from the shelf and pops the top off the container with ease. Pass that toolbox for me, would you? He points at a large gray box placed on top of the table beside me. Sure. Here. Something doesn't feel right. What is he trying to do? Gain my trust? Say, aren't you part of Blackout? The gator is taken aback by my sudden question as he takes the toolbox from me and digs through it, looking for something. You could say that, son. I raise a brow, in which he chuckles upon seeing my reaction. I take it that didn't really answer your question. Sorry, I'm just really confused at the moment. Yeah, well, I bet you are. The gator takes out some clear glass rods and sets them aside on the metal workbench on the other side of the room. Just this whole place and you and Helix. What the heck is going on? Why are you so nice to me when everyone feels like they're out to kill me? I like you, son. Huh? What? I'll be honest with you, son. I'm just doing my job. If the boss wants us to treat you well, then you're part of the family to me. Especially when someone like you scores a negative on the polygraph. You mean the machine that I was hooked up to earlier? But what does a negative mean? I thought that it was pretty obvious, but sure, I can tell you. Slate grabs more parts from inside the container before sticking them in a large cylindrical machine at the back. You know those old-fashioned polygraphs that the cops would sometimes use in movies, right? Yeah, I've seen them before in older movies. You ever stopped and thought about why people don't use those anymore? No, not really. Well, you know, they're unreliable at best and a straight-up lie at worst. That's why I invented the hypermetric polygraph. What? You made that? I'm just pulling your tail. I didn't invent that. Well, not the base design. Those puppies were manufactured for war, you know, intelligence extraction. We happened to get a hold of one, and I made some necessary repairs to fix it, and made some improvements myself to it. But it wasn't cheap, let me tell you that much. Right. I see. And I guess this is your speciality? Chief Mechanical Engineer. But yes, you can say that it's part of my speciality. That negative reading you got, meaning that not only are you telling the truth, but you've got nothing to hide. Really? Really, son. There is a pause in the conversation as Slate kicks aside the now empty container and tinkers on the machine in the back instead. Now, if I were you, I would make yourself comfortable until your pal Javier shows up again with Magnus. No point in being angsty. About that. But what if Javier isn't able to find Magnus? Haha. Well, you shouldn't be asking that. But fair question. Based on past experiences, we'd probably kill you. Dice you up and throw you inside some cement. The warmth in my face quickly goes cold as I stare at the gator in dread. Is he being serious? But again, no one ever scored a negative before on the polygraph, and they also didn't get special treatment from the boss. So, if I had to guess, we'd probably let you go. Ah, phew. I hope so. But we'd probably dispose of your friend for deceiving us. Only fair, right? I laugh nervously, unsure how serious the gator is being. You don't need to worry. He'll most likely be spared. But in the meantime, you mind lending me your help? Slate straightens his back as he motions to the same machine he's been building since he arrived. I get up, which prompts Slate to pass me a small flashlight and some sort of glass rod. You're a big one, aren't you? But I think you're still more slender than me to fit your arm through that opening. He points to a small vent by the side of the machine. Gonna need you to fit that glass rod from inside. I nod and slowly get on all fours as I try to feel my way through the insides of the machine. It's covered in long black wires and sharp edges inside that causes me to flinch as I snake my arm inside. You got it? Come on now, son. It takes me several attempts, but eventually there is an audible click as the rod locks into place. I think I got it. I heard a click. Good. Now step back. I retract my arm out carefully and quickly return to the couch. Slate reaches into the container again and pulls out something akin to a leaf. He throws it into the machine and shuts the lid, staring at the control inputs for a moment before pressing some sort of combination. Hopefully this works. The machine suddenly whirls to life with the gator impatiently tapping his claws on the lid. Come on. Any day now. Moments go by, the machine growing louder and louder until it stops abruptly. That took longer than expected. I'll need to make a note of that. He opens the lid and pulls out a small glass dish from inside. Did it work? Can't tell just yet. The gator leans over the counter, exposing just how large his back muscles are as he reaches for some kind of microscope. He slides the dish underneath the lens and stares intently. So it's not this one either. He takes a glass and tosses it to the trash beside him, before shaking his head at me. Well, to answer your question, son, it didn't work. So, what exactly are you trying to do? Slade strokes his chin slowly as my question lingers in his mind. You know what? I'll tell you since you're such a curious kitty. It's a paramagnetic isophase unit. You probably know it as a centrifuge. That's a centrifuge? It's so big. Similar, just one of the many kinds developed by the government. Much like the polygraph, it's also military grade. Hope you're noticing a pattern here, son. So, what were you trying to separate? Now that I won't tell you. Use your imagination. I'm sure you can come up with something. The gator continues to laugh as he walks over and pats my shoulder. My ears flatten from embarrassment as the sound of my empty stomach suddenly echoes throughout the room. Now. If I didn't know any better, I'd say you're hungry. I look away embarrassed as I recall what happened earlier with Helix. Hey, don't worry. I need to get back to searching for another sample to use, but I'll go fetch you something in a bit. Don't do anything silly, or that snow leopard might just do something to the fox. I shake my head slowly, sensing that this might be my only chance to learn more while Slate is still being friendly. Wait. Slate stops, pausing just as he's about to leave the room. Please, I still don't understand. About? You said Blackout's a research company. But if that's true, what's all this? I wave around the room, pointing at the circumstances that I'm in. And why would Blackout send me a text asking me to go to the power plant, especially when we ran into people that tried to kill us? I quickly softened my tone when I realized that I might aggravate the gator with my questioning. I just want to know what this all means. The gator shakes his head solemnly as he gazes at me pitifully. You poor thing. Son, let me ask you something. Do you think science can still do good, even when it's in the wrong hands? Yes or no? What does that mean? It's exactly what it sounds. I ponder over the question for a moment before Slate motions me over and sits down on the couch. I don't actually care what your answer is, but the fact that you're taking so long means something. For me, the answer is yes. Make no mistake, Blackout is a research company. It's just that ever since a couple of years ago, there was a large restructuring to keep the research afloat. And if I'm assuming right, that's probably why you and your friends weren't able to find any details about us. It's all been scrubbed gone. Restructuring? To put it lightly, we were sabotaged and the business was going under. But then our current boss came and bought out Blackout, and well, the rest is history. So, is he the reason why Blackout became the way it is now? You got it, son. Sometimes you gotta adapt to survive in a world like this. I nod respectfully, but something still doesn't add up. But what about the texts? Slate shakes his head in annoyance. Ah, yes. The ones that were sent to you by Helix's division by mistake. Still can't believe that chump is still making rookie mistakes like this. I know he mentioned earlier that they weren't supposed to be sent to me. But I know another person that got these texts sent. But they got beat up when they went to the power plant. Well, all I'll say is this. We got a recruitment program and a testing program. I can't say about your friend, but based on your recount, Helix meant to send those texts for the cat. The gator leans in closer, a glint of seriousness in his eyes. It's a necessary evil, but we need test subjects. Wait, don't tell me. Haha. I can already tell what you're going to say by the look on your face. Relax, no one's being tortured. It's just we can't really apply for standard clinical trials now, can we? We're working on something right now that'll hopefully reverse the cause of rapid muscle atrophy degeneration. You guys are trying to develop the cure for RMAD? RMAD, and along with some other things. He points to the machine and gets up. Well, son, hopefully that answers your questions. Because any more details about Blackout, and you're obliged to join us. Haha. Right. Then is it okay if I ask about you instead? Me? Well, you're the chief mechanical engineer, which means that you've been with Blackout for a while now, right? That's right. I've been here since the beginning. What was Blackout like then? You're asking too many questions that don't concern you, son. Be thankful Helix isn't the one looking after you right now. I doubt that he have the patience to deal with the amount that you're spouting out at the moment. Speaking of which, I need to get that schmuck. He turns around and opens a door, and for a brief moment, I swear that I spotted Christopher's silhouette walking by. Wait, that guy that just walked by. There is a short growl as Slate whips his head towards me. Son, don't test my patience. It's just that polar bear that just passed by. I'm pretty sure that's Christopher. Christopher? Slate's face wrinkles in confusion as he tilts his head towards me. What are you talking about? You better not be trying to pull a fast one on me, son. He's the guy that we were following earlier. We thought that he might lead us to Helix, so we followed him here, straight from the Grand Marine. And that's how you guys got here? Huh? The gator stretches his limbs as he thinks aloud. I should have asked earlier. Can't really go against the boss's orders now, but... The gator opens the door and peeks his head in the hallway. Helix, get in here right now. And bring your friend here too. It doesn't even take a minute before Helix and Christopher enter, both of them staring at me keenly as they walk past Slate. According to Theodore, Christopher here almost caused us a whole lot of trouble. Christopher? Locke, what did you do this time? Nothing. Tiger also said that he followed your friend and that you came here straight from the Grand Marine. Is that true? Yes. Locke, what the fuck were you thinking? I didn't think that I was being followed. We've been over this before. You never come straight to me. Let me pick you up, you idiot. Wait, So you're not Christopher? Who the hell fuck is this Christopher? It's the name that you told me to register as when I was hired at the Grand Marine, remember? Maybe? I don't fucking remember. That was ages ago. Ugh. Well, now that explains that. Helix, get Locke out of here. But what about the side hustle? Slate picks up Helix by the collar and stares him dead in the eye. If you think earning a few extra dollars is worth jeopardizing the entire team, then I'll just snap your neck right now. I step back slowly, watching as the feline claws desperately at his neck, gasping for air until Slate releases him, dropping him to the ground. I can go. It's fine. Slate blocks the polar bear with his broad arm while gripping harder on Helix's collar. We cannot have outsiders compromising Blackout's objectives. You know that, Helix. I don't care if he's your friend. He better not be here by the time that I'm back. The gator disappears, leaving Helix on the ground, gasping for air as Locke kneels beside him for support. Talk about a change in character. Ahem. I'll get going too. The polar bear gets up, growls at me, and then walks out of the door. My attention returns back to the snow leopard on the ground. Hey, are you okay? Helix slowly pushes himself up, muttering something under his breath. Fucking hell. He slams his fist onto the metal desk, the clang echoing throughout the room. Get out of my sight, before I kill you. He grabs a screwdriver from the desk and hurls it blindly in my direction, narrowly missing me as he keeps his eyes fixed on the table. Get out! Shit, he's gone crazy. I rush out, not wanting to stick around to see what he might do next. Now that I'm in the hall, though, I realize that I have no idea where to go. I could technically escape, but there is no way that I'd get far. Plus, they still have Javier. Hey, what are you doing out of the room? The gator emerges from a room further down the hall, his voice booming. Helix told me to leave or He's throwing a temper tantrum already. Why am I not surprised? Yeah. Ugh. I swear to God, one of these days... Leave him. Was just gonna come back to get you anyway. Where are we going? To the kitchen. Where else? Or was that not your stomach earlier? As if on cue, my stomach rumbles again. God damn it. That was me, yeah. Then come on, don't be shy. He winks and beckons me over as he disappears into one of the many rooms in the hallway. I follow, trying my best to keep up, until I'm led into another room. Have a seat, wherever you like. Kitchen? This looks more like an eating area. He gestures to one of the few couches scattered around the place, then pulls something out of the fridge and switches on the TV that's hung up on the wall. Here, hope you don't mind some leftovers. He tosses me a half-eaten sandwich wrapped in plastic. Thanks. I peel off the plastic and hesitate before taking a bite, but when I do, I realize it's actually not half bad. Look at that. The gator shakes his head at the screen. There's some kind of new broadcast currently playing. That Castleton's at it again, huh? When will that old mutt learn enough is enough? One of these days, someone's going to kick him out of the office. Hopefully it's right around the corner. So you've caught up with the rumors too, then? I know bits and pieces since I got here. Got here? Where are you from, son? Out of town, on the other side of the country, actually. That makes sense. You act nothing like a local, son. Well, you're gonna have one hell of a story when you get back. I doubt anyone will believe you, though. Wait, you're not worried that I'll tell people what happened? Assuming we don't kill you or hold you for ransom. No, not really. We have ways of finding out. Trust me. Oh. My heart skips a beat. He sounds like he's joking, but that glint in his eyes doesn't exactly scream, "Just kidding." Maybe it's best to avoid mentioning my release. I don't need the reminder that I'm just one text message away from Slate ending my life. So, Slate, sir. Slate is fine. Right. Slate. About Christopher, Locke. I'm guessing he doesn't work for Blackout, does he? Look at you. Even being held captive, you're still keen on asking questions. He walks over and leans in closer until our faces are nearly touching. I respect your moxie, son. You know what? I'll make you a deal. I'll tell you whatever you want about Blackout, but after your fox friend finds Magnus, I'm going to need you guys to give me something. Give you something? I don't know if I have anything Blackout would want. Not to Blackout. To me, specifically. And it's information I want. So don't give me that look, son. I'm not about to harvest your organs and sell them on the black market. But what if we don't have the information you want? Unlike Helix, I know ARC's reputation, and I also know for a fact that they've archived the missing bit that I'm looking for. Right. Trading information? That might be useful, but I don't know if I'm in any position to make a decision like this. So, what do you say? Got ourselves a deal? I don't know. Maybe I should ask Javier first. And why would you need to bother with that? ARC's been known to negotiate terms like this in the past. Besides, I doubt your friend wants to be interrupted while he's on such a crucial task anyway. I guess not. This could be a trap, but what choice do I have? Information is power, and right now, I need all the power that I can get. Sure. It's a deal then. He gives me a wink before grabbing my paw and giving me a firm shake, his scales rough against my fur. Glad to know you have some common sense. I could use a break from the lab work anyway. He pulls up a chair and sits on it backwards, facing me attentively. Now, I guess I should get started on the first thing that Blackout is not. We're not a cult. We don't traffic people. We don't run a drug cartel. Like I said earlier, Blackout's always been a research company, still is. Chemical synthesis, genome splicing, anti-aging therapy, those are just a few of the things that we've dabbled in the past. You follow me so far? I nod and Slate takes on a more serious demeanor. Like any normal science-based company, we got funding from doing research. When there's no research, the investors leave. There was an incident a few years ago where all of our latest research got stolen. Stolen? You hear me right, and it set us back so much that we were on the verge of bankruptcy. That is until our boss bought us out. Boss? You don't mean the same tiger from earlier. That's right, he is the sole reason why we're still operating to this day. That part makes sense, but what about now? What were you guys doing at the power plant? Power plant? Ugh, you must be referring to Helix's division. He squints and shakes his head disapprovingly. You were there with ARC earlier this week, I reckon then. Yeah, I got texts telling me to go there. Of course you did. Now remind me again, was this before or after our men left? The texts were before. We also went there after they left. Long story short, we were using the abandoned power plant to power some of our experiments. Right, that makes a lot of sense. But why leave so suddenly? Were you guys being followed? We also saw a lot of the equipment and things just left out in the open when I went back the second time. Second time? This must be when Helix forgot to extract our logs from the computer. You see, we were tipped off that someone might have been spying on us, and worried that it might have been the architects. Architects? You see, son, there is a lot more about the city than you and your friends or even Ark would know. No one knows much about them, but whatever's out there, it's enough to make us take precautions. Some say they're just a myth, but when you're up against a ghost that leaves no trace, you start paying attention to whispers. He pauses, his eyes narrowing slightly. Could just be stories, or maybe they're the real deal. Either way, we weren't taking chances when we heard that they might be sniffing around. Well, what or who are they? What do they do? He chuckles darkly. To be honest, I'd tell you if I knew, but no one knows anything about them. Although, there was that one thing that happened with Castleton long ago. There weren't any good explanations for it, so many people suspected that it was the workings of the architects. What happened? His face becomes more serious. He died. Died? Or, well, he should have with how his initial autopsy report was presented. But obviously that's not the case if the reporters keep talking about him, now is it? What do you mean he died? My memory's a bit fuzzy, but I remember reading that he got into a car accident and the top half of the car was sliced off cleanly. His car ran straight into an 18-wheeler. But not even a day later, it was confirmed that he had made a miraculous full recovery. Are you saying that the architects covered this up or something? Not me. That's just what people said back then. Wow. So they've been around for a while? That's true. They come and go and it's been a while since they last did anything, but lately whispers about them have been picking up again. Whispers about what? Depends on who you ask. He leans back slightly, seeming to weigh how much to reveal. I've heard some people say that they were involved in the terrorist attack 4 decades ago. No proof, of course, but the timing fits just too well. Others think that they're an offshoot of the Freemasons, operating in the shadows even longer than we thought. That's crazy. Not really. People make up stories when the group is secretive. I've already been hearing rumors crop up about Blackout. And what are people saying? The gator scoffs and sneers at me. Why don't you tell me? Well, we thought you had something to do with the production of Skeleton. Far from it. We're trying to do good, even if we have some ruthless ways of achieving that. So let me see if I have this straight. Blackout's a research company that uses dirty tactics to get what they want, but you guys are ultimately good? Guess you hit the nail on the head. Although the dirty tactics part is usually planned out by Helix. After all, he was brought in by the boss when the company was restructured. I stare at the gator's muscles and tattoos skeptically. Look all you want, but that's the truth. I mainly do the blueprinting and designs around here. And what does Helix do? He's a chief intel, so everything else. Wait, Helix does a research too? I thought he was more operational. Even the research, son. A thought suddenly pops in my mind as I try to process what Slate had just told me. Wait, back to the architects. Why would you guys suspect that they'd be the ones spying on you, if there's not a lot known about them? I'd have to ask Helix, but he said something about how the cameras were all jamming and the control room suddenly detected a large burst of signals. That might have been Javier and I. The gator stares at me bewildered. Well, call me a fool. That would explain it then. That paranoid cat, always worried about the architects targeting us. when it was just you and your friends snooping around. But if that's true, you caused us some setbacks with your meddling. He shrugs and relaxes his body, opposite of what I expected he'd do. Though that was ultimately Helix's call to make, and I'll gladly keep this to myself as long as I get the info that I need from Mark. Yeah, of course. Good. Now if there's no further questions, I'm going to... He pulls out his phone and holds up a finger, signaling me to wait. Slade speaking. Of course. He hangs up and stares at me, expressionless. Just letting you know. I just got a call about Magnus. Panic rises and my stomach lurches with anxiety. Right. How is that coming along? He suddenly smiles and nods slowly. Good. Sounds like they're on their way to meeting him now. I let out a large sigh of relief. Javier, I don't know how you did it, but thank God. In the meantime, I'd like to check up on that damn cat. It's been awfully quiet, and I've expected him to come in here by now. You don't think that he's still mad at me, do you? He most certainly still is. Now sit tight, 'cause I'm blocking you in here. Bathroom's in the back if you need it. Wait! And just like that, the large gator disappears out the door in a rush, leaving me alone with my thoughts and the pounding of my heart. I take a deep breath, fighting the rising panic. Come on, Javier. Please find Magnus. I need you to pull this off. I don't want to die. I tug at my collar and fidget with the bit flipper in my paw, trying to keep still while one of the lines wraps up his phone call across the lobby. The other one is closer, standing nearby, keeping a watchful eye on me. What a mess I've gotten myself into. Fox. The line calls out to me from behind, but I continue staring ahead at the one making the phone call. Yes? How do you know Magnus is here? I hesitate, carefully forming my words so as to not expose my bluff. I know. You say you know, but you weren't able to contact him earlier in the car. I don't have his contact information, but he told me that he was staying here the other day. The other slightly taller line from across the room hangs up the call and approaches over, waving me down. I've called the necessary people. We can continue now. Lead the way to Magnus. I roll my eyes at the large buffoon and stroll over to the elevators. I don't have to wait long before one arrives and I step inside. I notice the lines blocking anyone else from entering, leaving just the three of us inside the elevator. What floor? 65. My paws start to clam up with the thought of Magnus not being there, but this is the best shot that I have. He specifically brought me here that night, and I'm almost certain that he told me that he had unfinished business to discuss. In the case that he's not there, I'll need to stall and most likely need to ask someone there if they know where Magnus is. Step out, we're here. The short, ugly-looking line tries to grab my arm, but I swat his paw away, causing the other line to chuckle. Don't touch me, I know. Like I said on our way here, I would greatly appreciate it if you two just let me act autonomously. The two lions exchange looks of annoyance before gesturing me down the hallway. Whatever you say, just get us Magnus. Remember that you got until the end of the day, boss's orders. Yes, I know. You two have told me this countless times already. I suggest that you stop being so controlling and let me focus on finding Magnus. Or would you rather have my failure be attributed to the both of you? I'm about to continue on my rant at these two idiots when I spot a hefty-looking bear step out from one of the rooms in the hall. What's going on out here? Is this guy supposed to help us find Magnus? Shut your mouths and let me do the talking. I approach the fine-suited bear, carefully making sure my words only reach him. The two well-dressed gentlemen behind me are my bodyguards. Please be careful with your words. The bear looks at us unexpectedly before regaining composure. Anyways, do you happen to know where I can find the conference suite? He examines my attire and sizes me up, then stares at the lines behind me. Conference suite? It's just down the hall, but there's no planned meetings today. But you, I don't recognize you. What's your name? Javier. I'm gonna ask to see some ID. I don't remember seeing a Javier written on the list. That's because I was brought in by Magnus the other night to legally witness the formal contract that he had been a part of. Here. I pull out my ID and show it to the bear before putting it back. There is no point in showing you this when I doubt that you'll find me on the list. I'm afraid that I can't let you in then, not unless Magnus brings you along as well. Damn it, I was so close. There is a small tap on my shoulder, and I turn to see one of the lines leaning over to me. Hey, I thought you said that you were able to get Magnus. Yes, I will. I am working on it. Can't you see? How can we find him if we need him to go in? Is there a problem, gentlemen? No, not at all. I guess it's time to switch to plan B. Hopefully these idiots know how to play along. In fact, Our fox bud here needs to find Magnus, and you're getting in the way. I facepalm and shake my head in frustration. Please pay no attention to this man. It's his first week on the job. Sir, I'm gonna have to ask the three of you to leave if you're not accompanied by someone on the list. We can't just let people in, as this entire floor and above are fully... Yes, I am well aware. Hey! It's you! That shrill voice. Can it be? There's no way that he'd be there. I turn around and spot the unmistakable blue jacket and large antlers rushing down the hall straight at me. Hey, so it is you! You're that friend of Mr. Gardner Theodore, the red fox with the big round glasses. Wait, don't tell me. I think that I remember your name. It was Rover, right? Javier. Ah, it was so close. And now here's a face that I thought that I'd never want to see again. Wait, what's he doing here? Anyways. Hey, cool. I see you also have these two bodyguards with you. He suddenly takes out his camera and takes a photo of us. Excuse me? I want to remember this moment, plus your bodyguards look so cool behind you. Maybe I'll call the photograph Two Imposing Lions. I didn't know that you were important to have these bodyguards. Yes. My face lights up as I suddenly formulate a plan. Hopefully this works. Never mind my bodyguards. What are you doing here? Oh, me? I got bored. It's always the same people talking about the same stuff in there, so I've just been wandering around the floor. That's when I heard talking out here, so I went to check it out. Interesting. So he's also here, probably with his father. I see. But isn't the conference suite empty today? What is your dad doing here? Unless... Oh, my dad's just having his usual private meetings with his friends and staff in the room at the moment. His room? What do you mean by that? Oh, you know, about the company, earnings, all the normal stuff that old people normally talk about. I wonder if I can leverage this to my advantage somehow. I was wondering if you could convince the security here to let us in. I'm right here, you know. Oh, is he giving you a hard time? The bear stammers, looking visibly embarrassed. Well, no, I was just doing my job. This gentleman here was looking to enter, but his name isn't on the list. Oh, really? You're not on the list? No, I'm not. Can we make an exception for Mr. Javier this one time? Well, if you know him, I suppose it's okay. Hooray! You guys can follow me. I'll take you into the conference suite. I hear the lines snicker behind me as we follow along. Well, here we are. There's nobody here but us. Strange. Your bodyguards won't be able to stay inside. It's for security reasons, but they're more than welcome to hang outside in the lounge. Unfortunately, it's one of Dad's rules. Hey, wait, that wasn't part of the deal. The other line holds him back. Now, let's not be hasty. We managed to get inside, and it's not like the fox has anywhere to go. They notice me listening and begin muttering before dismissing me nonchalantly. We'll be here. Don't try to do anything funny. The bear gives us a suspicious look as he escorts the two idiots out, but I try my best to ignore it. Wow, your bodyguards sure look tough and spooky. But not as much as the wolf that was with you before, though. What? You know, the big wolf guy with the strong muscles? I forgot their name, but he was with you and Mr. Theodore when we were at the storage room. He tries to mine something, tackling down a door, making me facepalm and shake my head. Ah, you mean Roe. Yes, those two idiots are nothing like him. He chuckles, but then scratches his head and frowns. Is there any particular reason that you needed to be here, Mr. Javier? I thought maybe Mr. Theodore would have been with you. Or that you had someone waiting here for you. No, I should have been more clear earlier. I'm actually looking for someone that might be here. Really? Why didn't you mention that earlier? I love a good scavenger hunt. It was more convenient for me to admit that. I don't really understand what you mean, but if it's someone here, I might be able to help. So, who is it? I'm not sure if they're still here or not, but if you know where I can find Magnus... I came to this exact room a few nights ago with him for his business meeting. I didn't know at the time that this floor belonged to you, but that would make more sense now. Although, I didn't see your father at the meeting. I stop talking and stare at David, who seems to be lost in thought, not paying any attention to me anymore. Huh? I'm sorry, I don't think that I know any Magnus. What do they look like? They're a large Arctic fox, about the size of... Oh! David's face lights up and starts waving his arms in the air. You mean Big Gus? Big Gus? Yeah, that's what I've been calling him since I was little. Excuse me? Talk about a small world. How do you know Big Gus? It's a long story and one that I prefer not to delve into at the moment. Oh, okay. But if you're looking for him, I think that he's still in the other room at the moment. My eyes widen and a mountain of pressure seems to disappear off my back. He's here? Yeah, he's one of the people that my dad wanted to talk to. They're probably still discussing business though, but I could check for you. Yes, go. This is rather urgent. Okay, wait here. The reindeer runs out of the room before I even get a chance to clarify myself. Might as well take this time to see if I can find anything useful. I pull out my bit flipper and slowly pan it around the room. I knew it. There was at least 8 hidden cameras in here, the closest one being under the desk right beside me. Let's just disable all these unwanted cameras first. There. I trace my digits along the underside of the table until I feel a small bump, prompting me to slowly pick the camera off. The door suddenly swings open behind me, causing me to stuff the hidden camera in my pockets in a panic. Mr. Javier, I have some good news. Magnus is here? Yeah, I managed to pop my head in and I saw that he's still here, but they're still talking about business. I let out a relieved sigh. We can just wait outside in the lounge, that way you can see when Magnus comes out. Ugh, that means I'll have to go back to see those idiots, but it's not like I have a choice. Fine, let's wait outside. We walk over to the sofas where David flops down and pulls out his phone. I decide to sit across from him, but as I do, I notice the 2 lions watching me, with one of them starting to approach. What's the situation now? Are you able to get to Magnus? Yes, we're still waiting for him to finish his meeting. Isn't that right, David? Yep, he's with my dad right now, just a few rooms down. The lion steps closer and bends down to whisper something. I don't know what kind of stunt you pulled getting in here, but count yourself lucky. He shoots me a glare before walking back to the other lion. I roll my eyes at the over-necessary theatrics before returning my attention to David. This might be the perfect opportunity to get some more clarification on things. Let's hope that he's willing to share. David, what's your relationship with Magnus? Big Gus? He's like an uncle to me. I've known him since I was a kid. Him and my dad have been friends for a while. I'm not sure how my dad met him though. I never asked. But he seems like he's always meeting up together at least once a month. Sometimes me and my dad even take the private jet to visit Magnus's mansion by the mountains. David flashes a smile before getting engrossed in his phone again. Well, that was easier than expected. If only everyone that I questioned was like David. Although I do find his openness a bit off-putting to say the least. Maybe I should test my theory and see if he's as big of an airhead as he looks. You know, David, if I'm taking up too much of your time, you're free to leave. You don't need to accompany me. I know, but there's nothing to do. And my parents always taught me to be nice around guests and important clients. He motions to the lines, standing off to the side, staring at us. And look, you have bodyguards, so you're an important client. I try my best to hide the visual cringe at his logic. And what if I didn't have these bodyguards? I don't know. I'd still help you, because you're a friend of Mr. Theodore. I guess we're also friends now. He chuckles playfully before tapping on his phone again. If this is some kind of act, it is extremely convincing. Hey, I should ask some questions about you two. What kind of company do you run, Mr. Javier? Company? Better make up something on the spot. I run a boutique intelligence firm specializing in high-stakes global problem-solving. We offer bespoke solutions to some of the most complex security and investigative needs in the world. Our clients range from influential private individuals to multinational corporations seeking discreet and effective resolutions to delicate matters. You could say we deal in information and solutions that most wouldn't even know how to ask for. Wow. That sounds really important and impressive. I'm pretty sure he didn't understand half of those words. No wonder you're meeting up with Big Gus. You're both business foxes. I elect to conserve my energy and ignore the reindeer. I need to focus on what to say when Magnus shows up. There's too much on the line. The best approach is to be direct and honest. I'll tell him that his original contact was late and that there has clearly been some kind of setup. I'll also suggest that he void the contract that he made when I was with him the other night and redo it with Helix, for whatever intentions they might have. I am not entirely sure, but it seems important to blackout. And I have a strong hunch that Lawrence is behind all of this somehow. There is a high chance that Lawrence set us up at the speakeasy, and if that's the case, the fact that it coincided with Helix's and Magnus's meeting can't be a coincidence. This is all circumstantial for now, but I'll find out soon enough. Oh, Mr. Javier. Yeah. David shakes my arm, causing me to instinctively flinch and recoil it back. Oops, sorry. I didn't mean to startle you, but you were spacing out. I was just trying to get your attention. Well, you have it. What is it? Big Gus is out. I practically jump out of my seat as soon as I see Magnus emerge into the room. I watch as David rushes over to greet him. Big Gus! You're finally out of your meeting. There's someone here that's looking for you. David waves me over as I'm still trying to make my way over, with Magnus's eyes lighting up in surprise. Javier? This is most surprising. Did you not say that you were not interested in me? His voice is deep and sultry as he adjusts his robe, but I can't help finding it irritating. He steps closer to me and grabs my paw, delivering another greeting kiss again, which I try not to let it bother me. Things are complicated. I'm here to talk to you in a professional setting. Yes, that is acceptable. But what is the reason for the security lines behind you? I turn around and roll my eyes when I spot the same two idiots now just several feet behind me. Don't pay those buffoons any mind. I need to talk to you about the signing that you did the other night. Yes, the sales deal. What about it? There was some kind of setup that prevented the original party from meeting with you that night. They've requested that I find you again so that they can discuss the deal again. That is, most interesting to hear. But I am afraid that doing a resigning may not go so well. The deal is done. It would be difficult to accomplish this task. Huh? I reach into my pocket and pull out my phone. I'm about to dismiss the call, but I realize that the number is coming from the hospital. Sorry, please give me a moment to handle this. The phone connects and a frantic nurse can be heard on the other end, talking in the background. Hello? Is this Javier? We're contacting you because your details were listed under... Yes, but I'm in the middle of something. Can you please... Sorry, this is rather urgent. It's about our patient, Ro. He's gone. My heart stops. Gone? What do you mean by gone? You don't mean to say he's disappeared from his room. The authorities have already been contacted as we try and track him down, but he's nowhere to be found. What? We'll keep you updated in the meantime. Please keep a lookout for him. He may have wandered off because of his amnesia. Okay. The nurse keeps talking, but I hang up, feeling like I've heard enough. Magnus cocks his brow in concern. Are you okay? Yeah, that sounded serious. I let out a small chuckle and put my phone away, trying to refocus, but it proves harder than I expected. Just, some unexpected difficulties at the moment. And like I was saying, I grab Magnus's arm and pull him down slightly, making sure the lions can't hear what I'm about to say. We need to discuss this in private. This is serious. Understood. The large fox stands back up and straightens up his robe and walks to the conference room. We'll be talking about some things in private. Okay, have fun. The lions stare me down as I follow Magnus. Hopefully I can convince him to help me. To be continued. Special thanks. I'm assuming that's your Patreon? Yes, the Patreons. Anyways, so yeah. We met some new characters. We rediscovered... Well, not rediscovered. We finally found out that Christopher is not actually Christopher. So... It seems that Theodore is fine so far. And Javier is going to have to somehow convince Magnus to come with him in order to be able to both save Theodore and then eventually just get out and then hopefully be able to find Ro. Who's to say that Ro's disappearance isn't caused by Lawrence? I mean, he has been trying to sabotage everyone so far, so like, you know, maybe he found out that Javier is actually following through with what he didn't want him to, go after. And he found out that Theodore is with Javier and that he's at Blackout and stuff is happening that probably should not have been happening. Or at least that Lawrence did not want to happen. Maybe he decided, you know what, I'm gonna kidnap Ro. They're gonna call Javier. Javier's gonna have to stop what he's doing. He's gonna have to come and then I'm gonna, kidnap him, probably take him out. Like I did in that one other timeline. Yeah. Also, where is the tiger? The New Jersey tiger. The Guido. Maybe he's the one that actually picked up Ro. Interesting. There's a lot of things that are going on that we don't know about yet, obviously. Slate seems to be reasonable. I don't think that he wants to hurt Theodore unless, that is the only thing that he can do. Like, his boss just says, you know what? We gotta murk this guy. It's like, fine, I'll have to take him out. I didn't want to. I've been so nice to him. I fed him my half a sandwich. but I don't know. Anyways, what else? What else is really happening here? I'm also wondering how they're gonna lose the lions, but considering the fact that, David's, well, I guess David's family or him and his father have the whole area, reserved, they could literally just sneak around and exit the area. But then the lions, all they have to do is just call their boss, who would then call Slade and say like, hey, get rid of the tiger, if you know what I mean. Because he ran away, like the fox ran away with Magnus. There really isn't that much that Javier can do except convince Magnus to come with him. Or somehow trick Magnus to, hey, these lions over here really want to talk with you? You know, so get really close to them so that they can talk to you. Anyways, but yeah. What else? I mean, really, that's all that can happen. Also, the fact that Javier took one of the cameras, I wonder if he's going to do with that. I wonder what he's going to do with that. I also wonder if Lawrence is working with David's father. If you recall, Javier had basically what we all probably already guessed is a surveillance camera or something under his, I guess you could call it his end table or whatever that was in his living room that, oh, what was his name? That the board broke. What was his name? Oh, Morris. Was it Morris? Boris? What was his name? It was, oh, Monty. Monty with an I. But yeah, that he broke. What was he? Oh, I was confusing him with the guy for the Demon Lurks. Anyways, but yeah, so a lot of little details here are connecting, but we still don't have a bigger picture yet. And we probably won't even have the big picture, even if Javier's route ends. We will still need Rose's route. I mean, I guess they're saving the best for last, I guess. Anyways, but yeah, so what are your thoughts? Write it down in the comments, and thank you all for watching / listening. If you would like to play Rain Check yourself, you can do so by going down into the link in the description, which should have a direct link for the itch.io page, where you can download the game and play it, or you can just go to itch.io.com and, download it from there. And they do have a Patreon in case you want to get early access to builds of Rain Check, and find out ahead of time what's going on, and you'll probably see some behind the scenes stuff. You'll get to see some of the characters before everyone else does. You get to read the story a month before it goes public. And considering the upload schedule, this is recorded on December the 3rd. It probably will go out for the channel members on probably the 5th, or a little late, sooner, maybe the 4th. I don't know. It'll be around there. But that's going to be probably towards the end of the month. So, like for the public normal subscribers, you probably won't even be able to see it until the Christmas time. So around there, just so you know, you get to see these videos at least like 2 weeks in advance. I'm just saying, subscribe to the channel, give me money. Validate me by giving me money. But yeah, so subscribe to the channel. Normal subscription, doesn't matter. There's no actual pressure, I'm just saying, do it. Do it. But yeah, anyways, so yeah, channel members, the links is down in the description in case you do want to subscribe and you do want to support me out of the goodness of your heart, not because I'm forcing you to do it. And also my Ko-fi is down there in case you want to, just support me through that, They're both good. I'm not complaining either way. Also, my throne, in case you want to give me something. There's a lot of books there that I would really like. I'm going to buy them eventually, but like, if somebody can buy them for me now, that would be really appreciated. But yeah. Anyway, so I guess that's it for now, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye-bye.